Congress grilling the former CEO of Equifax about their data breach, one day after the CEO of Wells Fargo is forced to defend his reaction to the fake account scandal. Joining us now, Heidi Heitkamp, Democratic senator from North Dakota, who had some pretty pointed questions for Wells Fargo CEO Tim Sloan. Senator Heitkamp, so I'll ask you this pointed question. Do you think Tim Sloan should be removed as CEO of Wells Fargo?
I think that's really up to their corporate governance structure. I think we expected something more after the last removal, and so hopefully our questions will lead the board to ask further questions and make those decisions. But what I want to see is I want to see a change in corporate culture where you don't hear, I'm not familiar with that, I don't know that, in big problems that they have, and that's not what we heard. And as a result, what we did here is we're really big and we represent a lot of people, and just trust us. And that boat left the shore a long time ago. There isn't going to be any more trust us.
And what you asked him so pointedly was you sort of walked through a couple of points where you said, I don't know. I don't remember. The LA Times didn't tell me this. You pressed him pretty good. You know, he did a fairly good dodge and weave in certain instances. Were you, at the end of the day, though, were you satisfied with what you heard, Senator?
Absolutely not. When you're looking at people repossessing cars that shouldn't be repossessed, and the CEO says, I don't know about that. I'd have to look into that. Give me the name of your constituent and I'll call him. That's not the point. The point is there were thousands of people who had this happen to them. When you say, look, you just told us that you're not going to force arbitration on people who had false accounts set up, but that's exactly what they're doing in a court case in Utah. And he says, I didn't know about that. And we're talking about the 11th Circuit, and he doesn't know he's got a case in the 11th Circuit. Now, there's one of two things. Either he does know and he's not telling us, or he's really woefully ill-prepared and doesn't see the next scandal coming along. And there's not a change in corporate culture when you see that.
Senator, do you envision any legislation coming about as a result of this?
I think that the combination of Equifax and Wells Fargo and the concern that everybody has about corporate accountability. One of the things that I've been working on has been changing in the intent element in white-collar crime, because obviously, you know, people think that as long as I didn't know, I'm not going to suffer the ultimate consequence, which is white-collar crime. I might get fined or this might happen to the business, but nothing's going to happen to me. And I think until, you know, the frustration that people in my state of North Dakota have is you tank the whole economy and no one went to jail. How can that possibly be true? And so I think if we can start developing a level of personal responsibility of corporate leadership, with the ultimate penalty being a criminal prosecution, we'll see changes in terms of the duty to know.
So, Senator, how would you apply that to the case of Wells Fargo? Should somebody go to jail?
I think somebody should go to jail.
Who should go to jail?
I think the person who is the most culpable for making the decisions, and I think that was the head of the retail division.
So is the point of the hearing in part to determine who is the most culpable? And in your view, so far, who is that?
No, I think the point of the hearing is to try and figure out how we continue to see these problems. You think about Wells Fargo. We started out with, oh, they're opening up accounts without permission. Then all of a sudden we find out they're putting people on, making people buy car insurance that they don't need, and then repossessing cars when that insurance isn't paid. So it's like this cumulative thing, and you say, look, you keep telling us, trust us, we've got it. We heard the message, we're really sorry. And then they turn around and say, oh, something else happened, but we didn't know about that, trust us, we're really sorry. What's it going to take to change the culture so that there's an accountability at the top? And I'll tell you the thing that probably irritated me the most in what Wells said is he said, this happened at our community banks. Well, what that message is, it's the fault of the people who are the tellers and the loan officers in banks in North Dakota, and not the fault of upper management. That's, again, a dodge of upper management responsibility.
So it sounds like clawing back some of the bonus, some of the salary of, for instance, the head of the community bank at the time, the CEO at the time, that may not be the end of it. There might be more fallout, in fact, is what you're saying?
Right, absolutely. And I think that all of these examples illustrate things that we need to understand if we're really going to protect consumers of these institutions. In Equifax, just think about this. I have no relationship with Equifax. It mines data and has a bunch of information about me. I've never told them what they could do with that data. And now my data has been breached. And oh, by the way, initially they said, and to protect yourself, you need to spend X number of dollars. And I think Elizabeth did a good job walking through how that actually benefits companies like Equifax. And we can't have that consequence as a result of a breach as large. Take a look at what happened today with Yahoo. Clearly, Congress needs to have a sit down and a come to meeting of minds about what the expectations are, not only to prevent breaches, but how people need to react when they happen.
Senator, thanks so much for your time. We appreciate it.